Why do strong men still beg for answers? Why, after being ignored, disrespected, or quietly abandoned, does a man who once stood tall suddenly feel the need to explain himself, to ask one last question, to wait for one last reply? Look closely at what happens next. Long messages typed and deleted, phones checked in silence, a mind replaying conversations, searching for a sentence that will finally make the pain stop. Here is the truth most men are never taught. Closure is not healing. Closure is submission. The moment you chase it, you hand your power to someone who has already shown you they don't value it. You turn your peace into something that must be granted. Stoic philosophy exposes this illusion without mercy. Your strength was never in their explanation. Your dignity was never understood. Your power lives in how you respond when no answer comes. In this video, you will learn 7 Stoic principles that teach you how to detach without becoming cold, bitter, or broken, but instead disciplined, self-respecting, and quietly unshakable. 1. Stop begging for answers. Silence is a position of power. After emotional damage, a man's first instinct is rarely anger. It's confusion. He wants to know why. Why did she disappear? Why the respect vanished? Why the conversation ended without explanation? He believes that if he can just understand the reason, the discomfort will finally stop. This instinct feels rational. It feels mature. But it's a trap. The moment you begin chasing answers, you shift the balance of power. Every follow-up message, every "can we talk?", every attempt to get clarity quietly communicates the same thing. You need something from them to regain your footing, and the more you ask, the smaller you become in your own eyes. Stoic philosophy is ruthless on this point. You don't chase explanations, you observe patterns. Marcus Aurelius wrote reminders to himself not to waste time worrying about how others perceived him, because a man anchored in his principles does not require external validation to move forward. The Stoic understands something most modern men forget. Being understood is not a prerequisite for dignity. Look at modern examples. You're ghosted after weeks or months of connection. You send a calm message asking for honesty. No response. You wait. Then you send another, more thoughtful message. Still nothing. At that point, the silence has already answered you. But your refusal to accept it keeps you emotionally trapped. Or consider a breakup where the explanation feels vague, unsatisfying, incomplete. You replay the conversation, searching for a loophole. You ask again, hoping this time the truth will feel different. But notice the pattern. The answers never bring peace. They only create new questions. The same dynamic plays out in the workplace. A colleague disrespects you publicly. A manager dismisses your contribution without explanation. If you chase validation or justification, you signal uncertainty. Silence, on the other hand, forces others to sit with their behavior while you keep your center. Stoicism doesn't teach silence as punishment. It teaches silence as self-command. When you stop asking, you stop negotiating your worth. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your posture. You're no longer reacting, you're choosing. This is where the 72-hour silence rule comes in. When you feel the urge to ask for answers, pause for 72 hours. No texts, no follow-ups, no indirect checks, no just one last message. During those 3 days, do one thing only: observe. Do they reach out on their own? Do their actions change? Do you feel calmer as your nervous system settles? What you'll discover is uncomfortable at first, but powerful. Most of the time, the truth reveals itself without a single word exchanged. Patterns speak louder than explanations ever could. Silence does something else too. It returns you to yourself. Your attention comes back. Your energy stops leaking. You begin acting from principle instead of impulse. And here is the Stoic power line you need to remember. A man who does not beg for answers cannot be controlled by them. Silence isn't weakness. It's the moment you stop asking for permission to stand tall again. 2. Closure is a trap. It keeps you emotionally leashed. Closure is often described as the final step of healing, the moment when everything makes sense and the pain finally settles. People imagine a calm conversation, honest answers, and emotional relief. But this belief hides a dangerous illusion. Closure rarely heals. It extends attachment. The first hard truth is this: closure is not healing. Healing happens when your nervous system regains stability and your identity recenters. Closure, on the other hand, keeps your attention locked onto the person who hurt you. You're not recovering, you are waiting, and waiting always places power outside of you. This is why closure is better understood as permission. When you chase it, you are saying, "I cannot be at peace until you explain yourself." Epictetus would call this a form of bondage. If another person must speak, apologize, or clarify before you can move on, then your inner freedom has already been surrendered. Stoicism rejects this dependence completely. A Stoic does not wait for emotional permission. He does not negotiate with the past. He understands that freedom begins the moment peace no longer requires external approval. Modern psychology explains why closure seeking is so addictive. Intermittent reinforcement, unpredictable responses mixed with silence, creates one of the strongest emotional dependencies known to the human mind. A short reply after days of silence reignites hope. No reply increases anxiety. The cycle continues and the desire for closure becomes compulsive rather than healing. This is why the phrase, "just one last conversation," is so deceptive. It sounds reasonable, mature, even healthy. But that conversation almost never brings finality. Instead, it opens new emotional loops, new interpretations, new questions. Each attempt tightens the leash, keeping your emotional state tied to someone else's behavior. Stoic philosophy reframes this entirely. Peace is not something you receive. Peace is something you take. It is an internal decision, not a negotiated outcome. When you stop asking for closure, you stop granting others authority over your emotional state. This does not mean suppressing emotion. It means refusing to outsource your inner calm. The Stoic understands that unanswered questions are not obstacles. They are signals to withdraw attention and reclaim autonomy. To break the attachment, use the closure letter exercise. Write everything you wish you could say. The anger, the confusion, the disappointment, the questions. Be precise, be honest. Then do one essential thing: do not send it. The act of writing releases emotion without reinforcing dependency. Your mind learns that expression does not require their response. The moment you stop chasing closure is the moment the leash falls away. Detachment begins not when answers arrive, but when you decide you no longer need them. 3. Strong men don't need emotional permission to move on. Many men confuse healing with approval, and this confusion silently weakens them. Healing is an internal process. It is the slow return of stability, clarity, and self-command. Approval, by contrast, comes from the outside. It comes from explanations, apologies, or emotional validation. When a man waits for approval before moving forward, he delays healing instead of allowing it to unfold. Modern society reinforces this mistake relentlessly. Men are told they must resolve their emotions first, that they should fully understand their pain before acting. This sounds compassionate, but in practice it often becomes a trap. Endless emotional processing turns into hesitation. Reflection becomes rumination, and life continues moving forward while the man remains stuck inside his own head. Stoic masculinity rejects this passive model entirely. The Stoics understood that action precedes emotion, not the other way around. A man does not regain strength by waiting until he feels ready. He regains strength by choosing disciplined action while emotions are still unsettled. Emotional order follows behavioral order. Seneca made this distinction clear. He taught that a free man does not ask permission from others or from his own discomfort to live according to reason. If you require emotional certainty before taking action, then emotion has already become your master. Stoicism does not deny emotion, but it refuses to let emotion dictate direction. This becomes especially clear after emotional damage. A man who has been hurt often believes he must get over it before rebuilding his life. He waits to feel motivated before training. He waits to feel clear before focusing on work. He waits to feel confident before setting standards again. But healing does not begin in waiting. It begins in movement. Rebuilding a routine after loss is not avoidance. It is medicine. Waking at a fixed hour, training the body, limiting idle thinking, returning attention to craft and responsibility. At first, the emotions lag behind. Motivation feels thin, but structure stabilizes the nervous system. Momentum restores confidence. The mind settles because the body and habits have reclaimed order. This is where most men get it backward. They wait for feelings to change before acting. The Stoic reverses the sequence. He acts first. He creates discipline, and over time, emotions align with behavior. Confidence grows not from insight, but from consistency. To apply this in daily life, use the identity-first rule. Instead of asking, "Do I feel ready to move on?" ask, "What does the man I respect do today?" This question bypasses emotional noise and activates identity. Identity is stable. Feelings are not. When behavior aligns with identity, emotional clarity follows naturally. Stoicism does not promise comfort at the beginning. It promises freedom at the end. Freedom comes when you stop waiting for permission, emotional or external, to live with discipline and direction. I do not wait for emotional permission to move forward. I act with discipline, and my emotions follow. For detachment is not coldness, it's self-respect. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood concepts in Stoic philosophy. Many men hear the word and immediately imagine emotional shutdown, becoming distant, numb, or indifferent to everything around them. Because of this misunderstanding, they cling to emotional engagement long after respect has disappeared, believing that caring more somehow makes them better men. But Stoicism draws a hard line here. Detachment is not the absence of emotion. It is the presence of self-respect. A man who refuses to detach when he is being disrespected is not being compassionate. He is neglecting his own dignity. The confusion becomes clear when we separate detachment from bitterness. Bitterness is what happens when emotional attachment remains, but hope dies. A bitter man still replays conversations, still feels triggered, still wants justice or acknowledgement. His emotions are active, but unresolved. Detachment, by contrast, removes the emotional hook entirely. There is no internal argument, no scorekeeping, no silent resentment. Stoic detachment functions as emotional boundaries. It is the discipline of deciding what you allow to enter your inner world. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that other people's actions cannot harm his character unless he invites them in. Insults, silence, disrespect, and manipulation only gain power when they are internalized. This distinction matters in daily life. A colleague undermines you publicly. A family member repeatedly crosses the same boundary. An ex reaches out only when it is convenient. Emotional overengagement leads to explanations, defensiveness, or internal turmoil. Detachment allows a cleaner response, distance without hostility, calm without collapse. Detachment does not require confrontation or withdrawal from life. Often, it looks like fewer words, It looks like consistency instead of emotional reactions. It looks like stepping back without announcing why. The Stoic does not punish others with silence. He simply stops granting access to his inner state. Marcus Aurelius understood that dignity is preserved internally. He did not believe in correcting every insult or clarifying every misunderstanding. He believed that self-command mattered more than being understood. When you stop needing others to change in order to feel at peace, you reclaim authority over yourself. To make this practical, use an emotional boundary script. Prepare 1 or 2 neutral phrases in advance, such as, "That doesn't work for me," or "I'm not available for this conversation." Delivered calmly, without explanation or emotion, these statements protect your boundaries without creating conflict. They prevent impulsive reactions when pressure appears. Over time, this discipline changes how people treat you, not because you demand respect, but because your behavior communicates it. Boundaries consistently applied remove confusion. People learn where you stand because you show them, not because you explain yourself. Detachment is not closing your heart. It is closing the door to what disrespects it. When practiced correctly, detachment does not make you colder. It makes you grounded, composed, and unshakable. A man who remains open without being available to harm. 5. If they wanted to explain, they would have. There is a truth most people avoid because it feels too final, too sharp, and too exposing. But once you face it, it becomes deeply liberating. If someone truly wanted to explain their behavior, they already would have. The absence of explanation is rarely confusing. It is usually a choice. This realization hurts because it removes hope. I hope that maybe they didn't mean it. I hope that maybe they just needed time. I hope that a clearer conversation could change the outcome. But Stoicism teaches that freedom begins when illusion ends. You are not meant to wait indefinitely for clarity that never arrives. The Stoics judged reality by actions, not by intentions. Words are cheap, flexible, and often designed to soften discomfort. Behavior, on the other hand, is consistent. It shows priorities without needing interpretation. This is why Stoic logic always favors pattern over promise. If someone repeatedly avoids direct communication, that is a pattern. If they appear only when it suits them, that is a pattern. If respect disappears when accountability is required, that is a pattern. And patterns, unlike promises, do not need translation. This becomes especially clear in ambiguous relationships. The messages are warm one day and distant the next. Plans are suggested but never confirmed. Apologies are offered without change. You are told, "I care," while actions consistently say otherwise. This ambiguity keeps you engaged, questioning yourself instead of observing what is actually happening. The same principle applies to disrespect. When someone repeatedly crosses a boundary and never takes responsibility, their silence after the fact is not uncertainty. It is avoidance. Waiting for an explanation only prolongs the lesson you already understand. Stoicism asks a simple question: what is being demonstrated, not what is being said? When you answer honestly, the situation becomes clear without confrontation. Silence stops being confusing and starts becoming informative. To make this practical, conduct a behavior audit. Write down what has actually happened, not what was promised, implied, or hoped for. Look at frequency, consistency, and follow-through. Ask yourself, if this behavior continues unchanged, what does it realistically lead to? This removes emotion from the evaluation and replaces it with evidence. Once you see the pattern, you no longer need answers. The mind stops bargaining. The nervous system relaxes because uncertainty has ended. You're no longer waiting for someone to clarify what their actions have already stated. Here is the crucial reframe. Their silence is not the absence of an answer. It is the answer. Stoic detachment is not about closing doors angrily, or assigning blame. It is about recognizing when the lesson has already been delivered. When you stop demanding explanations, you stop handing others power over your emotional state. The moment you accept this truth, something shifts. You regain time, you regain focus, you regain dignity, not because someone finally explained themselves, but because you stopped requiring them to. 6. Detach to reclaim your focus, not to punish them. One of the most common mistakes men make after emotional injury is confusing detachment with revenge. They tell themselves they are moving on, but beneath the surface there is still a quiet hope. They will regret it. This hope feels harmless, even motivating, but it keeps you emotionally tied to the very person you claim to be leaving behind. As long as you are waiting for regret, recognition, or guilt to appear on their side, you are still being controlled. Your focus is no longer on your life. It is on a future emotional reaction you do not command. Stoicism is clear on this point. Any inner state that depends on another person's response is not freedom. The Stoics viewed attention as a limited resource. Your energy is finite. Every thought you spend replaying the past, imagining their remorse, or rehearsing imaginary conversations is energy removed from your body, your work, and your character. Detachment exists to stop this leakage, not to create emotional distance for show. True detachment has nothing to prove. It does not announce itself. It does not posture. It quietly redirects attention back to what is within your control. When done correctly, detachment feels less like withdrawal and more like returning home to yourself. This redirection is practical, not philosophical. You return energy to your body through training, movement, and physical discipline. You return energy to your work by narrowing focus and eliminating distractions. You return energy to your standards by rebuilding routines that demand consistency. None of this requires emotional resolution. It requires decision. Consider how quickly clarity appears when focus shifts. A man who trains regularly, works with intensity, and maintains structure does not need revenge to feel restored. His nervous system stabilizes because his attention has been reclaimed. The past loses power, not because it was defeated, but because it was outgrown. To make this shift concrete, use the energy recall list. Write down where your energy has been leaking. Rumination, social media checking, imaginary dialogues, emotional monitoring. Then list where that energy should go instead. Training sessions, skill development, focused work blocks, disciplined rest. This exercise turns detachment into allocation, not avoidance. Stoicism teaches that control is exercised through direction, not resistance. You do not win by fighting the past. You win by refusing to fund it with your attention. Detachment is not about making them feel the loss. It's about making sure your life no longer pays the cost. When focus is reclaimed, peace follows naturally. 7. The Stoic Exit. Leave quietly, leave clean. Most people believe that leaving requires noise, a final speech, a message that explains everything, a dramatic moment that proves how deeply they were hurt. But Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. The most powerful exits are silent. They leave no mess behind, no emotional debris, and no open doors. A Stoic exit is not passive, it is deliberate. It is the moment you stop feeding a situation with your attention and allow it to collapse on its own. Silence here is not avoidance or fear. It is the sign that nothing more needs to be said. This is why quiet exits create the deepest impact. Drama invites arguments, explanations invite negotiation, emotional speeches invite counter-narratives. Silence invites none of these. When you leave without announcement, you deny others the opportunity to rewrite your decision or pull you back into emotional labor. Seneca understood this well. He taught that dignity matters more than being understood. A man who requires explanation to feel justified is still dependent on approval. The Stoic does not need agreement to act in alignment with his principles. He leaves because staying would compromise his character. This applies to every form of departure. Leaving a relationship does not require a final confrontation. Leaving a toxic workplace does not require public condemnation. Leaving an unhealthy social circle does not require moral speeches. Over-explaining only prolongs attachment and keeps you entangled in reactions that no longer serve you. To exit the Stoic way, follow 3 non-negotiable principles. First, no announcement. Do not declare that you are leaving. Announcements are often disguised bids for validation. A quiet withdrawal signals certainty. People feel absence more strongly than they hear words. When availability disappears, the message is already delivered. Second, no justification. Justifications invite debate, and debate invites doubt. The more you explain, the more you open space for others to challenge your decision. Stoic discipline means accepting that your reasons do not need to be understood to be valid. Third, no return for validation. This is where most exits fail. After leaving, people check their reactions. They look for regret, confusion, or acknowledgement. This emotional return reopens the door you just closed. A clean exit stays clean because it is final, not because it is loud. Consider how this looks in real life. A man leaves a relationship by reducing emotional availability instead of escalating conflict. He remains respectful, but unavailable. A man leaves a toxic environment by fulfilling obligations calmly, then stepping away without resentment. A man leaves an old identity by changing behavior, not by announcing transformation. Silence in these moments is not weakness. It is self-command. It prevents bitterness from forming and allows the nervous system to settle quickly. Finality becomes clear because actions align with decisions. The Stoic does not disappear to punish others. He leaves to preserve his standards. He understands that staying where dignity is compromised costs more than leaving ever could. Leave quietly. Leave clean. Do not explain your exit. Let your absence do the talking. This is not a retreat. It is strength expressed without noise. Detachment, when understood correctly, is not a loss. It is a return to strength. Today, we walked through 7 Stoic truths. You learned why begging for answers weakens your position, why closure is a trap that keeps you emotionally leashed, why strong men don't wait for emotional permission to move on, why detachment is not coldness, but self-respect, why behavior matters more than words or promises, why detachment exists to reclaim focus, not to punish others, and finally, why the Stoic exit is quiet, clean, and dignified. Together, these principles point to one core message. Stoic detachment does not make you colder. It makes you steadier. It doesn't shrink your heart. It strengthens your spine. The Stoics never taught withdrawal from life. They taught freedom within it. Freedom from emotional dependence. Freedom from needing explanations. Freedom from handing your peace to people who haven't earned it. Now comes the most important part: practice. For the next 7 days, do one thing deliberately. Do not chase closure. No explanations. No one last conversation. No emotional bargaining. Instead, observe what happens to your energy. Notice how your self-respect shifts when you stop asking for permission to move on. Detachment is not something you think your way into. It is something you live your way into. Thank you for spending this time with me. Your attention matters, and your discipline matters even more. Until then, carry this affirmation with you. I don't chase closure. I choose peace and power. I'll see you in the next one.